Alright, y'all, Ignite here, and today we are going to be comparing and contrasting Strumigenys Eggersi and Graceful Twig Ant. So let's get right into it. Alright, y'all, like I said, we're going to be going in and comparing these two ants. One of them I cannot pronounce. You saw it in the intro. I can't pronounce it. The Strumigenys Eggersi and the Graceful Twig Ant. So we're going to be comparing and contrasting those today in the continuation of the Versus series. However, before we get into that, you know what time it is. This video is sponsored by Aptoid. We're using my code EGNATE2023. You can get anywhere from 5 to 40% off all in-game purchases when you use my code. There's also the full description of how to use this code will be down in the description below, as well as a link to my Discord that is a great community with lots of good people there that we would love to have you, and you can come and ask any question, and if I don't answer, somebody that knows will. So, alrighty, we'll get right into it. So, as always, we're going to go into each of these ants. The skill 1, 3, 4, and 6, we are going to ignore, as those skills are pretty universal across every single ant there is. So there's really no reason to go ahead and look at those. So let's get right off the bat. Alright, so we're just going to call this Ant SE. So for SE, effective range 2, pre-combat skill, so that means it's going to trigger no matter what. During the battle, greatly increases the skill damage dealt by all our carrier squads by 60%, while reducing their normal attack damage by 40%. Okay, so with this right there, that's kind of it's a nomenclature that I don't even know why they bothered to do that, because everybody knows by now that your skill damage is a direct derivative of your normal damage. So if they're reducing your normal attack by 40%, but increasing the skill damage by 60%, you're really only getting a 20% increase at the base there. So they should have just worded it that way. Would have been a lot easier, but it is what it is. All right, and we'll go look at Graceful Twig, effective range 4. 2 random enemy squads with an effective range. Okay, so has a 50% chance to deal 180% plus special ant level times 1% damage to 2 random enemy squads, reducing their attack and defense by 30% for 2 rounds. Okay, so this one, obviously, it gives a little bit of damage, 50% chance. That's not too bad. But then it has the reducing their attack and defense by 30%. So this would be extremely effective versus shooters, because as you know, shooters are usually very attack heavy, but it's also very effective against guardians, because guardians usually rely on their defense. Dropping those for 2 rounds is pretty strong. That means that you have a max possible proc of 4 rounds no matter what. It's a good chance that they are going to be debuffed. So which one's better? That one's a little bit hard, honestly, because skill damage is so powerful in this game. So having a 20% increase on that, we'll have to go and look at their other combat skills. But when you're pairing it with like Golden Crystal or Shikri, if one of those procs and has a 20% increase of damage on top of that, that's pretty major. But that little debuff that Graceful Twig has, decreasing their attack and defense by 30% for 2 rounds, is nothing to sneeze at either. So I would say that the Graceful Twig Ant is going to be used more for like a support defense in this case, whereas the SE is going to be more for attack or PvE. All right, we'll get into the next one. All right, next one, squad. In a squad, dodge rate plus 20%. We discussed this many times. Dodge is a much overlooked skill and very, very fucking useful. Excuse my French. All right. And then for Graceful Twig. 3 random enemy squads. Effective range 4. Prepares for 1 round and has a 60% chance to deal 250% damage plus special and level times 2. Damage to all enemy squads and heals are squads with a healing ratio of 30%. Okay, so you guys know me and the whole healing in this game. It doesn't work. It's the most useless thing that they've added, and they've never tried to be able to repair it. So right here, I would say that even though it still does give some damage, that healing ratio is just junk. So in this particular case, the roles are reversed between Graceful Twig Ant and SE. SE allows it to be more of a support with that dodge, but that dodge is very, very powerful. And then the Graceful Twig is giving a little bit of attack. Now the only problem is with that is that it prepares for 1 round, so that means it only can have a max trigger of 4 times in any battle. So for this one, I'm going to say that the SE actually has the upper hand. So we'll carry on. Alright, next one, carry on defense, and this one's carry on health. So right here, SE already has the upper hand. Health is, what carriers need to be able to survive. They don't need defense really. So right here, the upper hand goes to the SE because it actually caters to what carriers need, and that's health. And therefore, that gives the SE the upper hand yet again. And the last skill. 2 random friendly squads within effective range 2, in rounds 2, 4, and 6, so essentially every other round, has a 50% chance to increase the chance of triggering the 5th skill of 2 random ant squads by 100%. If the skill requires preparation, has a 60% chance to skip one round of preparation. That's powerful, especially again with things like golden crystal and stuff, to be able to have a 100% rate of them being able to proc. That's very powerful. And we'll go look at Graceful Tree, which this one has pre-combat skill, effective range 2. When this special ant squad releases a combat skill, has a 75% chance to increase the attack and defense of all of our squads by 30%, can be stacked. If this squad requires preparation, increase the control resistance immune to suppress, disarm, silence, chaos effect of all of our squad by 25%. Ooh. Alright, so this makes it a little interesting. So the SE is going to be basically allowing you to hit harder and do more potential damage, whereas the Graceful is looking more as being a balance. It's adding attack and defense, but it's also increasing your immunity to suppressing skills. All in all, though, especially with just the sheer power of Golden Crystal, I'd have to give it to the SE again as far as being the better ant in this case. So overall, what do I think? For sure, I think that the SE is a better choice for a frontline than the Graceful Twig. I would definitely run it as a frontline because you typically want to stick to the 1 support double DPS standard as it goes. And so I think the SE is better. I think that the Graceful Twig Ant is still very usable, but I wouldn't say they'd be like a pro March carrier. But anyway, that's going to be it. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and Egne is out. We'll see you in the next one.